Shout out to Black Americans, dead ass. I know I've talked about this in the past, but I feel like I don't talk about it enough. And also, I feel like they don't get enough credit. I don't think black people all around the world understand that the United States is by far the safest country in the world today for black people to migrate to because of Black Americans.
You know, when I came to America newly, I used to think African Americans are lazy. They don't want to work and all that.
I watched this video of this African lady raised in Kenya education system, and she was saying how, like, growing up in the school system, they were very confused about the little bit that they taught them about Black Americans and slavery. They were so confused. And she said that they keep us ignorant to each other's suffering, Black Americans and Africans. They keep us ignorant to each other's suffering to create division. So now here we have the Africans coming over to America, and America possibly about to open up to the Africans our money, the money that belongs to Black Americans. The ignorance that they keep both parties with not understanding the other people's suffering. This lady was saying how, you know, even when she visited America, she did not understand us because she did not understand what our ancestors have endured, some of our ancestors. Now, with further education and knowledge of the American history, now she sees us. And I believe this goes on with any race, not just Africans versus Black Americans. I believe the reason we treat everyone the way we do is because we lack understanding. We lack understanding of each other. The Chinese lack understanding of the Africans. The Africans lack understanding of Black Americans. Black Americans lack understanding of islanders. Like, we all just lack understanding. We lack understanding due to our lack of proximity to one another. If we all were in more proximity to each other, if we all were closer with one another, where we shared stories, shared experiences, and brought people into our lives, we would have better understanding of each other. And we would see each other more on a human level than divided.
For decades, oceans and silence stood between Africans and Black Americans. Misunderstandings, stereotypes, and wounds created by history kept us apart. But today, something different is happening. There's a shift, a healing, a reunion of brothers and sisters across the Atlantic. Watch and pay attention, guys, and I will share my thought later.
You will never understand the struggle of African Americans until you live in the system for 5 years. Then you understand that being black in the system is already playing you 10-0. Like you are 10 steps behind. The schools in black neighborhoods, they are all underfunded. The only thing you can find anywhere, everywhere in black neighborhood is liquor store. Keep drinking and keep yourselves busy. Now I understand why everybody is fighting so much to live in white neighborhood. Before, I used to say they are not proud of their skin color. They don't love who they are. But they're actually fighting for their children's future. Because being black in the system is already playing you 10-0. You are 10 steps behind. Is it you that is coming with underfunded certificates that want to be competing with somebody that is 10 steps ahead of you? Being black in the system is tough. You see, African Americans and Africans, we're all the same. Let us not be distracted. We are all the same. The only difference is that one is living in America, the other one is coming from Africa. Let's support each other's business. If you see your brother trying to make ends meet, support his business. You get to the point now. Peace and love.
Shout out to Black Americans, dead ass. I know I've talked about this in the past, but I feel like I don't talk about it enough. And also, I feel like they don't get enough credit. I don't think black people all around the world understand that the United States is by far the safest country in the world today for black people to migrate too because of Black Americans, because of their ancestors' sacrifice, including this birthright citizenship that everybody and their mama enjoys, that Donald Trump is trying to get rid of. This was enacted because of Black Americans, and it breaks my heart the way a lot of people come to America and not only turn a blind eye to their plight, but also talk shit on them, in spite of the fact that America is all they know and they're doing their best in a country that was not created for them, most especially Africans. But I'm not trying to get into the diaspora war thing because, like I've mentioned before, this is just a bunch of hurt people hurting people. You have to understand that one of the things that makes Black Americans different from every other Black people is Black Americans are the only group of Black people that actually got to live with white people. Everybody else was left behind in their home countries. I know the Caribbeans were also products of slavery. Those countries, including the Caribbean islands, are majority Blacks. The countries that white people wanted to settle in, especially the United States, the Black people who were forced to be there, they received a heavier dose of fuck shit. And naturally, Black Americans got to witness what it is about humans that made the Bible say the heart of man is desperately wicked. They got to see that massa don't fuck with nobody but massa, Chad. And a lot of these Africans and Caribbeans who migrate to the US are yet to learn this. That's why y'all be just, when you see a white people, we thank God. This is equivalent to a pick-me woman seeing a very sexy man who's tall, dark, and handsome and everything in her dream, that she just opens herself up to him to get knocked up. But then until she gets to his home to see how he lives, she gets to see that he lives like a pig. Dirty dishes, dirty laundry, snores and farts in his sleep, takes the shit and forgets to flush it, doesn't even wipe his ass right. Ooh, yeah. Bad breath in the morning, looking a hot mess. Then you come to see the things that makes him human. And then all of a sudden he ain't shit. But you could have figured that out before you let him knock you up if you were not so obsessed by his physical image. Girl, you should have asked baby mama number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You thought 11 was going to be the magic number? Yet, in spite of that, Black Americans have been able to persevere and pull away and do their own thing in a country that was not created for them. They have their own art, some of which was taken from them, jazz, hip-hop, rap, their own dialect. And even at that, a lot of the things that they started were stolen from them without credit, destroyed, burned down, called ghetto, and anything but a child of God, child. And yet, they still persevere. And to me, this is one of the things that makes them very attractive to me. Like I mentioned before, when I lived in America, Black Americans were my favorite group of people because their audacity, bro, their audacity is so fucking powerful. And I know that this is something that a lot of Black people, a lot of people in general, but especially Africans, judge them for. I want to see how y'all survive being the black sheep of a family that does not want you, that you're required to be a part of. We can all learn from each other because we're in this shit together. We are stronger together. Uche, peace and love.
Thank God for another day. Good morning, friends. How are you? I am so happy today because this is a purpose for me to see people being healed, to see people on the healing process. I'm not expecting people to be healed overnight. I'm not expecting people to forgive and forget overnight, but on the path to healing. And I'm so happy. I'm just grateful. You know, when I walk on the American soil, do you know what I'm thinking about now? I'm walking on blood. I'm walking on sweat. I'm walking on somebody's tears. I'm working on, when I walk, I'm walking on somebody's hope, somebody who had waited, somebody who had dreamed, the sweat of the ancestors. And it's just very humbling. You know, I am admiring their tenacity, their consistency in the midst of pain. And I'm just grateful. I have a new look as an African immigrant. I have a new look of things. And I promised, not a promise, but I told you guys I'm going to spread awareness. I'm going to start telling my fellow Africans that please don't use any derogatory words to describe the people we met in this land. Put some respect on it, regardless of where they are at. Because what they are, where they are at now, some of them, is because of generations upon generations upon generations of trauma. In fact, some of them are doing excellently well. Because some people would have been wiped out with what they passed through. They are still moving. They are still building America. They are still, you know, trying in spite of the odds, still paving the way for others who they don't even know. So that's part of the awareness I'm going to spread. I'm going to try to also visit the African American museums. I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to also try to do that when I go to Ghana or other African countries. I want to spread awareness. All right, guys, let me go. Bye-bye.
Black Americans do not have a home. That was what was said on my comment section on my previous video by my African brothers and sisters. Okay, come to think of it for a second. Why do we run from our so-called home and come to live in a homeless land? Why do we do that? Why are we Africans running from poverty, broken system, and war to live in a homeless land? Why are we doing that? While there was one who stayed, fought, built, and survived through 400 years of hell, Black Americans may not know their village or tribe, but let me tell you, these people stayed and built a rhythm, a culture, and an unbroken soul that is unmatched. These people turned pain into power, they turned shame into culture, they made a place that was feeling like nowhere into somewhere. Before you run into my comment section and say they don't have a home, ask yourself, what type of home are we Africans running from, and what type of home did Black Americans build with nothing?
I now feel for the Black community because I know what it feels like to be racially profiled. I didn't know it before, and I thought it was a little bit of a reach, but now I totally get it. That's what a man came out on here and said, and this is why we should believe victims. This is why we should believe people's stories. This is why we should have empathy, and this is why we should be able to put ourselves in other people's shoes, because you thought it was a reach. That's what he said. He thought it was a reach when the Black community said that they were being racially profiled and they were getting stopped for no reason, and like, it probably wasn't that serious. But now that Latinos are getting racially profiled, now he gets it. This is why empathy is so important, because you never know when the tables turn. And no, it shouldn't be transactional. It really shouldn't. You should believe people, because you should think. You should be able to think outside yourself and be like, if that was me, I would hate that. I don't have to be Black to realize that that freaking sucks. That what they go through, what they've experienced, sounds painful, that I can't even imagine the years of frustration and honestly, just freaking frustration and anger that they must feel. But guess what? Now Latinos get it. Now. And that is why we are in the situation that we are, because people don't feel for others until it happens to them.
Do you know where a lot of Africans make their mistake when it comes to foundational Black Americans? They come to this country with arrogance, disrespect, talking down on foundational Black Americans about we don't have a culture, we don't know who we are, and all of that nonsense, trying to Africanize us, forcing us to claim Africa. That's the wrong way. And you see that you get a lot of resistance back from foundational Black Americans. I remember when Africans had a lot of support and a lot of foundational Black Americans respected Africans. But then something changed, man. It's not just one or two or three or a few people that's lashing out against Africans, mainly Nigerians. But it's like a great bulk or majority of foundational Black Americans that are against Africans. And there's a reason behind that. Now, if you look at the Asian community and the Middle Eastern community, they were able to come to this country and make a great deal amount of money off the Black community. They would come in, they would set up in the Black community, and they would make money. Black and Asians and Middle Easterns got along pretty well. But then the Africans came in, and Black Americans, very few Black Americans will support them, but they really didn't want to give Africans any type of business. As a matter of fact, there's some Africans here locally that tried to open a store or maybe even a mobile station, and they had to actually put Arabs or Middle Eastern people in there to run it for them because they weren't getting the support of foundational Black Americans. And there's a reason behind that. It's the disrespect that they show towards the same people that they expect to support their businesses. Because if your people were supporting your business, there would be no need for you to come to America. You would do well from where you came from. But you travel all the way overseas just to disrespect the same people, the locals, the foundational people here, the ones you expect to give you business. You come here and disrespect and look down upon and feel that we need you, when in reality we don't. We've gone over 400 years, over 500 years without you. We've survived through just about everything. And here it is, you come here and just think that we ought to just bow down to you because you're from the continent of Africa, right? And that's wrong. That's the wrong way to approach things. If you had came here humble, we're not looking for anyone to kiss our behinds or, we're not looking for that. Just respect. Now, you don't see the Asians going through that. You don't see the Middle Easterns going. I could take you to a Middle Eastern business right now or an Asian business, and Black Americans are supporting them with no problem. They know them by name. Every now and then you may have a situation where you find one or two Black Americans get into it with an Asian or a Middle Eastern, but not too often. They were able to sit up in this community and do well. But the Africans come here, the Nigerians come here with a very haughty attitude. And Black Americans frown upon that. I remember when I went overseas, when we Americans went overseas, number one, they didn't allow us to get involved in their politics. You have Africans here that get involved in the politics here, and then like when that reparation topic come up, the Africans that are now in American political system, they quickly like, oh, I reject it. Black Americans should not get reparations. How are you going to come here and dictate what we get? And Black Americans were the ones that voted you in the office in the name of blackness, thinking that they're supporting you and that you were going to support us, but instead you got in position now and look down your nose at Black Americans and only support the people that come from where you came from and other immigrants. See, you can't do that, man. And see, that's the problem that a lot of Africans are having here in this country, is like they're very arrogant and disrespectful. When I went to other countries, man, it's like I went there with respect, humbled them. I'm very, very humble, respectful to the people. And then when it was time for me to leave, I left. See, I didn't go there trying to look down on the locals because I'm an American. I didn't do that. But yet Nigerians and Africans come here and they do that in America. And I think that's one of the big reasons why a lot of y'all are being banned, especially with the Nigerian frauds. And y'all talk about doctors, and engineers, but a lot of y'all are getting busted, man, for having fake license, right? You getting busted for scams and frauds. So that's the reason why I think a lot of Africans are getting kickbacks from foundational Black Americans, because you come in here, you came wrong. You came with the wrong energy. And now you got a lot of Black Americans now.
The last few years, Africans across the continent and the diaspora have started engaging deeply with the Black American experience. For the first time, many Africans are openly acknowledging the pain, trauma, and systemic oppression Black Americans have lived under for generations. From social media conversations to African creators speaking on the US racial injustice, to people on the continent showing solidarity during global protests, the narrative is changing. People are listening. People are understanding. For too long, Hollywood, Western media, and colonial narratives created a war between us. Africans were told lies about Black Americans. Black Americans were fed lies about Africa. Both sides were misinformed. Both sides were manipulated. But now, travel, technology, DNA testing, shared culture, music, and online dialogue have opened our eyes. Africans are realizing Black Americans are not privileged African Americans. They are descendants of enslaved people robbed of their heritage, culture, and identity, yet still standing strong. Across Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, and beyond, people are acknowledging the truth. Black Americans carrying generational trauma on their shoulders. They built America with their sweat, creativity, and genius while facing discrimination every step of the way. Today, Africans are standing in solidarity, showing love, showing respect, showing understanding. For the first time, many Africans say, "We see your struggle and we honor it." The year of return in Ghana opened a door. African Americans walked back into a continent that embraced them, and Africans welcomed them with open arms. Families found lost roots. People cried together. People healed together. This was not tourism, it was reconnection, a spiritual union that had been delayed for 400 years. We are beginning to understand that our bond is deeper than borders. We are one family separated by history, and now that we are talking, really talking, the healing has started. Africans are learning about redlining, mass incarceration, police brutality, systemic racism, not through movies, but through real stories from Black Americans. Black Americans are learning about African kingdoms, culture, resilience, and modern-day reality, not through outdated stereotype, but through real Africans. The word fears a united Black people, but unity is exactly what is coming. When Africans and Black Americans join hands, we bring together history and innovation, culture and creativity, spirituality and power. From Afrobeat to hip-hop, from Atlanta to Accra, the global Black identity is forming into something stronger than ever before. This is only the beginning. Healing is happening, understanding is growing, and the bridge between Africa and Black America is being rebuilt, one conversation at a time. Thank you for watching, guys. Don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comment box below. Until next time, cheers and have a good one.